Well, good morning, church. Today is Maundy Thursday, and just like all of our other mornings, we're continuing in our Lenten Devotion. And today we're going to be looking at the hospitality that Jesus had for those that were about to harm him. I often think about hospitality, and I think that it's wonderful to be hospitable for those who are nice to you, who care about you, who are kind to you. It's maybe even nice to be hospitable to those that have been hospitable to you. But I wonder what goes through the mind of someone as they're trying to be hospitable to someone that is about to hurt them. In this passage in John chapter 13, we see that Jesus is about to go to his death. It's the night before he's about to be betrayed, and he's enjoying one last meal with his friends. And the scriptures let us know that already Jesus knows that his friends will betray him, that Judas Iscariot would hand him over to the Sanhedrin, and that Peter would deny him 3 times, and that all of his friends would just watch him on the cross. Imagine the weight that Jesus has on his heart, knowing that the friends that he had traveled with for 3 years would not stick up for him, that one of his friends would actually betray him. That must have weighed heavily on his heart, and it must have been a struggle for him to sit down at that meal. But instead of demanding his own way, and instead of having a pity party, and instead of being completely disturbed by the night and by what was going to happen the following day, Jesus looks around and he realizes that there's a need that has to be taken care of. In ancient Jewish times, it was customary that the servant or the lowest person in the house would welcome the travelers into a meal, and they would take the time to wash the feet. And that was important because in this time people were just walking in sandals, walking in the dust of the streets, and their feet would get sore. And so it was a way to show hospitality to those that you invited into your home. But something interesting happened in this meal. There wasn't a servant to wash people's feet. There wasn't someone jumping at the opportunity. In fact, they had all sat down to have this meal, and I wonder if the disciples were looking and wondering, who's going to take this job? It won't be me. I don't want to touch anyone's feet. And I know that some of us even still struggle to this day of the idea of touching other people's feet. So the disciples just sat down and they waited. Someone will crack. Someone who is the lowest will crack, and they will end up washing the feet. But then in John chapter 13, it tells us that in the evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things in his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So this is amazing. Jesus knows everything that's about to happen. And it tells us that he got up from his meal, he took off his outer clothing, and he wrapped a towel around his waist. And after that, he poured water into the basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that he wrapped around him. You see, Jesus is so kind and so loving and so caring to those around him that it doesn't matter, rank doesn't matter to him. His posture doesn't matter to him. He simply loves his disciples. He simply loves those around him. And he's willing to do the lowest of low jobs. And the following day, he would do the hardest thing ever imaginable. He would offer himself up so that we could have a relationship with him and with God the Father and the Holy Spirit. I often think about this passage and I wonder about myself. Could I be hospitable to someone who would hurt me or who has hurt me? Do I have it in me to be kind to those around me? And I'm encouraged by the life of Jesus, by this moment in Jesus's life where he was able to care for those around him, even though they had harmed him, even though he knew they were going to harm him. Jesus shows hospitality even when pain is going to come his way. Jesus continues to love all of us, even though he has been betrayed. Jesus continues to chase after us, to show us signs and wonders of his great care for us, even if it was going to cost him everything. My prayer is that today, as we remember the hospitality of Jesus, that we would be moved to care for those around us, even those who have hurt us. Grace and peace. We'll see you all soon.